Hello. So today we are going to discuss another way to write loops. It is do while. So it is very similar to while loops, but there are certain differences. So a do while loop in C++ is similar to a while loop, but with one crucial difference. A do while loop will execute the block of code at least once, even if the condition is false, on the first check. So this is because the condition is checked after the code has run and not before. So the main advantage of a do while loop is that it ensures the code block runs at least once, no matter what. So this can be useful when we want to ensure the user interacts with your program, or when you need a certain action to take place at least once before checking a condition. So it's often used in programs that require user input because you typically want to prompt the user at least once before deciding if you need to loop again or not. So this is basically how it works, and generally we start the structure would be, we say do, and in the brackets we execute the code, and we say while, and then we put the condition. So let's see an example here. So we initialize one integer called number, and then we say do, we open the bracket, we say enter a positive number. We store the positive number that the user enters, and we check. So if the number is lower or equal 0, we say that's not a positive number. Please try again. And then it comes here. So the condition is that if the number is lower or equal than 0, lower than or equal 0. So it repeats until the time the user gives a positive number. So to say it in an easy way, it would be like this. It asks me to give a positive number. So if I enter a positive number, the loop will finish, and then it prints out this line saying that thank you, you entered, and enter and print whatever we entered. Or if I give it a negative number, it enters this if condition. For example, I would say -2. So if I say -2, it is for sure lower than 0. It says, okay, that's not a positive number, try again. And while the number is -2, go back to this part again, enter a positive number, and then we store the number, and then it sees if it's positive or negative. It is, if it is negative, it repeats everything again. So let's try and see how it works. So enter a positive number. I would say -20. That's not a positive number. Please try again. So -25. Enter again. It says that's not a positive number. Please try again and enter a positive number. -30. It will not finish as long as I'm giving a negative number. And when I say like 20, it says thank you, you entered 20. So this is how generally a do while situation, a do while loop would work. So I entered 20, it stored, I firstly entered -20, it stored -20. -20 is lower than 0, yes, so it prints this value and it says, okay, while -20 is lower than 0, go back to the do. So it starts from here again, enter a positive number. And we entered -25 here. It says -25 lower than 0. Okay, it showed this message and saying that okay, 25 is lower than 0, go back to the top. So it goes back and to the top again and again and again until I enter a positive number, which is the case here. And then it says thank you, you entered 20. So this is basically how a do while loop would work. It is being executed first, as we mentioned, then the condition will check will be checked to see if another execution of code is required or not. So if I was going to, oops, sorry, what did I do? Yeah, so if I was going to, enter like a positive number in the initial iteration, like if I say enter a positive number and if I say 11, it says thank you, you entered 11. So I say enter a positive number, it says okay, the number is 11. Number is 11 is not lower than 0, then it escapes. It's not lower than 0 again, it escapes. So the loop is not going to be executed anymore, and it says thank you, you entered like 11. So it is one time executed and then the condition is checked here. So this is the main difference.